One of the common questions amongst beginners is, what classes do we need in our application? Well, that depends on the concerns or responsibilities your application deals with. Let me give you a metaphor. Think of a restaurant. In a restaurant, we have different people working together to provide a service. Each person has a clear and predefined responsibility. So we have a chef, a waiter or waitress, a cashier, and so on. So each person in a restaurant is like an object. All these objects collaborate together to provide some service, right? We should design our classes or objects in a similar fashion. So we should find the concerns or responsibilities in our application and make sure that each class has a single responsibility. So back to our code, let's have a quick look at what we have here to figure out what responsibilities we have and how we can give these responsibilities to different classes. So in our main method, we're calling the readNumber method. This method is responsible for reading a number from the console. So potentially we can create a console class and move this method there. Then in the future, whenever we want to build a console or command line application, we can reuse that class to read a number from the console. Okay? What else do we have here? Here we're calling the print mortgage method. This method is calling the calculate mortgage method. See, we are just calling methods one after another. This is procedural programming. We are not using objects. We don't have encapsulation. We don't have abstraction. So this print mortgage method is responsible for printing the monthly payments in a nice format, like some kind of a report. So potentially we can create a class called mortgage report and move this method there. What else do we have? Print payment schedule. Very similar. All we are doing here is creating some kind of report. So this method is using the calculate balance method to get some data, and then it prints it on the console. Now you might be asking, wouldn't that be better if we move this method to our console class? No, because that console class is a generic class. It doesn't know anything about mortgage. If we move this method there, then that class is going to get a little bit bloated with something that it shouldn't be responsible for. This is like a restaurant where the chef comes and takes orders. So we want to make sure that each class or each object has a single responsibility. Our console class is going to be generic. It only knows how to read values from the console. It doesn't know about mortgage or any other kind of domains. Next, we have the readNumber method, which we talked about. After that, we have the calculate balance method. Here we have some basic mathematical calculation for calculating the remaining balance after a number of payments. And finally, we have calculate mortgage, very similar to the other method. Now look at the parameters of these two methods. So here we have three parameters: principal, annual interest, and years. And we have the exact same parameters in this other method. This is what we call procedural programming. We're just calling methods and passing values around. Now, whenever you see you're passing the same values to multiple methods, that is a great opportunity to apply the encapsulation principle. So here we want to encapsulate these values and the methods that apply on them, like calculate balance and calculate mortgage, inside a single object. So instead of passing these values around, we want to store them in the fields of a class. And then our calculate balance method is not going to have 4 parameters. It's only going to have this parameter. So this was my initial analysis of various responsibilities we have here. Over the next few lectures, we're going to refactor this code step by step.